If you want, you can come here. We are here in the Shreyas Prabhu's room.
Prabhuji, I just, like, it will take some time for me to come, so I don't want to waste while away time. So I might buy it from tomorrow, if that's fine.
So thank you all for joining again today. So you can put your video on also, possible? You can go.
Yes.
Thank you. So thank you for joining. So today we are going to discuss from verse 2 and verse 3. We'll see how much we can do it. But they are two very important verses. So today we discussed preface and the verse 1. Correct? So any one point you remember? Abhyukta and Ajit going through and Sumit, just any one point from the previous discussion. One point at least.
Like
Yes.
the earth to control your tongue.
The louder.
The earth to control your tongue, belly, genital, mind, anger, speech. Those are called Goswami. Because they can control the
Yes. Correct. Those who can control their senses, go. Swami. Swami means the master. Correct. And the 6 Vegas, those who can conquer, they're actually Goswamis. Correct. That's what we discussed. It's okay. Ajit going through any point?
So like how you mentioned about, doing so much of devotional services helps us, develop taste for bhakti.
Okay, Sumit, any point? You remember?
Regarding?
Yesterday discussion, any point?
Like from what we learned?
Yes.
Oh, so we learned about different types of how we are supposed to go from the variations of a bhakta to the prema. That's what I remember from the last day, and the journey of different Goswamis, also what the meaning of Goswami is, like the master of senses, and I have the notes, but I'm forgetting right now, like what exactly they were. Yeah. That's all I remember for now.
Oh, I think the point is to Hare Krishna. Okay, so we will go today. So what I request you, you all can make some notes also, because that way you'll able to reflect back later. And also you can read the purports if you get time. So that way you'll able to catch some additional points what we are discussing. So today we are discussing from the second verse and third verse. These two things. So this Upadeshamrita, the second verse and third verse is talking about what are the 6 things which are favorable. So first he talks about what are 6 things which are unfavorable for devotional service. And then he talks about 6 things which are favorable for devotional service. So what are 6 things unfavorable for devotional service? So it starts from Atyahar. Atyahar prayashasya prajalpo niyamagraha janasangashya lalyamsha shadbir bhaktir vinashyati. So vinashyati means it destroys our bhakti. It spoils our bhakti. So there are 6 unfavorable things. And the next 6 items which are described by Srila Rupa Goswami, these are the items which can actually help us progress in bhakti very nicely. So they are Usahat Nishyad Dharya, Tattat Karma Pravartanat, Sangha Tyaga Sato Vritte, Shadbir Bhakti Prasiddhati. So there are 6 things which are going to favor our devotional service very nicely. So 6 things unfavorable, 6 things favorable. So this we have to be very cautious about. So the 6 things which are harmful for bhakti are listed in this verse or second verse, like that. So my question to all of you, you see generally in this world, the conditioned souls, they usually don't like to be told anything. Do this, don't do that. But if you see here, Srila Rupa Goswami Pad is telling certain things should be done, certain things should be avoided. correct? So if somebody you tell, no, you should chant, he says, no, okay, I will chant as per what, whenever I want. No, who are you telling? Why should you, tell me I should do this, I should do that, I should follow this principle, I should follow that principle. What I feel like I'll do it. People sometimes have that kind of idea. So usually it is the conditioned soul's nature that they don't like to be told what to do, what not to do. So my question to all of you is that how will you convince that person that one has to do certain do's and certain don'ts? How will you convince? What will you tell? Like some devotee may say, no, Prabhu, I will do as per my way. I do my things, as per what I feel. You don't have to tell. I don't need to know. People may sometimes say like that. So what do you think is, what do you think would be the right answer? How will you convince that person to actually understand the importance of doing certain things and not doing certain things? Yes, anybody?
Like if you have to ask someone to do certain things, so then we can give them Shastric examples wherein, in Shastras, there's mentioned how it is to be done conventionally. And then like if the person ahead of you, if standing in front of you is saying Shastrically and you respect Shastras, so then like keeping that, because you are a very learned person and because you're saying this from the Shastric point of view, so then that is how you can convince them, like by giving examples from the Shastras.
Correct.
Basically.
Nice. So now what Aditya is saying that we can tell them that how Shastras are telling certain things to do, certain things one should not do. So now the next question is, what will happen if you follow certain instructions of the Shastras in terms of doing what Shastras are telling and prohibiting us from certain things? So what happens by that? What one will achieve? Why should we follow the Shastra? What we want? How the person will benefit if he follows?
Moksha.
Moksha.
To achieve Krishna.
Okay.
Like
that way one can progress
Okay.
in his spiritual life. Correct. Yes, correct. So we follow the Shastra so that we can progress in his spiritual life. Correct. Very nice. So that's why we need certain vidhi. So vidhi means do's. And nishedh. Nishedh means don'ts. So we have to follow certain do's and don'ts. That means vidhis and nishedh to be able to practice or not, to be able to progress in our spiritual journey. So that is important. Like for example, you go to a doctor. So doctor will prescribe you certain things. You should do this. Some medicine he will give you. And he will also tell certain don'ts. Correct? He will say, don't do this, don't eat that, don't eat that, don't eat this thing. Certain things he will say that you should avoid. And certain things he will say that you should do. Right? And basically he will give some medicine, some kind of favorable items he will tell you. So we should be doing both. Correct? Do's also and don'ts also. Imagine, you go to doctor and you say that, doctor, I will do what I feel like doing. So then doctor will say you can do it, but you'll never get cured, basically. You'll never get treated. So if you're serious about treatment, so that's why this nectar of instruction is for those candidates who are serious about their spiritual life. They want to seriously progress in spiritual life. And Srila Rupa Goswami is a doctor here. So he is telling certain do's, certain vidhis, and certain don'ts, nishedh. So who's telling? Srila Rupa Goswami Pad. So he is a spiritual doctor. So he is instructing for certain do's and certain don'ts. And we have the disease of ignorance. We are affected by avidya. So because of avidya, we are suffering in this world. Now you go to the material doctor, that is because of some bodily ailments, bodily disease. But right now we are having disease of avidya. We are completely in this cycle of birth and death. We are suffering in this material existence because of ignorance. So if you want to get cured of your material disease, the real disease of material existence, then you have to follow certain do's and don'ts. That is vidhis and nishedh. Now, somebody may say that, oh, I'm not diseased. That is again ignorance. Because there are certain symptoms by which one can understand there is a disease. So what is the symptom? They were suffering in this world. And we are also having the real problems of life, birth, old age, and death. That is a symptom of our disease condition. So that somebody may be ignorant so much that he may not even accept that he is diseased. The same way, sometimes, as sadhakas, we may not sometimes take this very seriously that I'm diseased and I have to work upon my disease. That's why the first thing one should know is to become aware and acknowledge one's disease condition. And then one can be very enthusiastic to take the do's and don'ts like that. So that's also one of the things given in Nectar of Devotion, that when one becomes disgusted from this material existence, one understands a disease condition going on. Then one becomes very serious about getting cured also. Then one takes shelter of the bonfire spiritual master very seriously. Who is a spiritual doctor? So it's called Sadhu Vaidya. The spiritual master also compared to Vaidyaji. Yeah. Brahmite kono sadhu Vaidya paya. Like that Chaitan Charitamrita says. That way. Kam Krodha das hoye tar lathi. We have become the servant of Kam and Krodha, and we are getting a lot of lathi. Kam Krodha das hoye tar lathi khaye. Brahmite kono sadhu Vaidya paya. And wandering like this, we get some doctor. That is spiritual master. Tar Upadesh mantra, Pishachi Palai. And by hearing his instruction, he will say certain do's, certain don'ts. So Tar Upadesh mantra, Pishachi Palai. And then Pishachi, that is the disease of Maya, it will go away. Krishna Bhakti Paya, Tabi Krishna Nikadaya. And then you get Krishna Bhakti and you go near to Krishna. This is what happens. That's why spiritual master is also compared to Vaidya. And here Srila Rupa Goswami, he is the great Acharya, he is also Vaidya here. Now see, as Ajit Govind was saying, the Shastras are talking about certain vidhi and certain nishedh, do's and don'ts. But Shastras have so much of vast instructions, so many instructions of doing this way, doing that way, or not doing this. Like you find sometimes some boys ask this question, Prabhuji, in my home this death has happened, so whether should I chant or not chant? Because scriptures say that they will quote something they will tell, or now this graha is going on. I have to offer this thing to certain demigod. They will ask certain injunctions are there. So there's so many do's and don'ts. So scriptures actually talk in the context of karma kanda and upasana kanda, jnana kanda. There are many things are given. So which may be so many varieties of instructions. But what our acharyas have given us, so our acharyas are bhakti acharyas. So our bhakti acharyas, they give us the instructions which bhakti shastras are telling, and that also they give those instructions which are the most essential for us for making advancement in spiritual like that. So so we may not be able to sometimes execute all kinds of instructions which may be given in the context of karma kanda and other things. But Shastras make the path very easy. I mean, acharyas make the path very easy by giving us the relevant instructions which are favorable for our devotional projects. Like that. So we take those instructions seriously, which are given by the Acharya. And also our spiritual master will give us most practical way how we can execute those instructions of the Acharyas, like that. So the most essential do, that is vidhi and nishedh, is given in one of the Purana. So it says that Satatam Smartavyam Vishnu, that one should always remember Krishna. One should always remember Krishna and one should never forget Krishna. Vismritavyam na jatuchit. This is the most essential vidhi and nishedh. So what is, and all other vidhi and nishedh, all the other do's and don'ts are nothing but servants of this two. So many instructions are there, to do this. But the number one instruction, the most essential is who is the master of all the instructions. Correct? All other instructions for doing whatever do Sastra telling. So that are subservient to this instruction. What is that? Always remember Krishna. And the second thing is nishedh. That nishedh, there are so many scriptures telling about what is prohibited, so many things. But what is the essence of it? One should never forget Krishna. So that is the nishedh. So that means always remember Krishna and never forget. The two things are told. Now somebody may ask this question: why these two things are put separately? So what do you say? What do you understand that? Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. It is same thing only, right? So what do you think? So I request if devotees can put the video also on. Yeah. What do you think? Why these two things are separately told? Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. It looks like same, right? What do you think? Gopal.
I think
yes.
We need to remember Krishna in some ways which like maybe a person is bewildered by something, and in those hard aspects or situation also one should remember Krishna. I mean, because like Maya is too powerful. You can be affected in numerous ways. And when things are going well, so people sometimes forget to even thank God for that. People believe that their own hard work has made them achieve that, but it's not like that. So because of that, like the perspective according to me is like, then we should not forget Krishna. Like in
But
these.
but it is the same thing only, no? If you remember Krishna, then you're not forgetting Krishna. Why it is put separate? What you're saying is correct.
Yeah.
But same thing only, no? You're saying one should not have the perspective to forget Krishna. So what does it mean? Same thing only.
Remember when he's doing that, never forget. Situation wise, it's like different.
How?
We should remember when he like how Kunti used to do. Like she used
So
to
how
tell.
do you so how do you remember Krishna?
How do I remember Krishna? By chanting.
Okay, what else? Let's hear from everyone. How do you remember Krishna? Avik Prabhu, how do you remember Krishna? Yes, Ajit Goenka, you want to say?
Yeah, worshipping the Lord.
Worshipping the Lord, no? Getting
rendering
deity
service
worship.
to him.
Yes, doing service to the Lord, then you remember Krishna. No? By making garland, then you can remember Krishna easily. No? You're doing it for Lord. Correct?
Or
Chanting.
doing services like even like services like pot washing, for example, like because
Yeah,
like
services.
dedicating it in services, dedicating that particular service in the action of towards Krishna.
Yes, so good point. So what he's
By
saying
chanting
is,
Krishna.
yes, by chanting Hare Krishna mantra, by doing actions, no, dedicating our actions to serve the Lord. Correct, no? As we are doing services. That's a good point. By reading Prabhupada books, no, by hearing lectures, these are the direct ways to remember Krishna. Now, what is the way you can forget Krishna? So think in this way. What are the activities if you do to forget Krishna?
Drinking.
You can drink,
Partying.
partying, right?
In all those things you can.
Yeah, you can hear a
easily
cinema
forget,
song. Yeah.
Easily forget
Basically,
Krishna.
everything that's in this material world, whatever actions you
You have to
do.
just name some. Name some.
Indulging in sense gratification, basically.
Indulging in sense gratification, like, for example,
like whatever the opposite of four regulative principles.
Yes, meat eating, gambling, intoxication,
gambling,
illicit sex,
intoxication.
all that you do, then what happens? You forget Krishna. So is that why it is told separately? Basically, there are certain activities by which you will remember Krishna. So always remember Krishna, always engage yourself in those activities by which you can remember Krishna. And never forget Krishna means what? There are activities, if you do, you'll forget Krishna. So prohibit yourself. I mean, don't do those activities which is going to make you forgetful of Krishna. That's why this is put separately. You understand? Does it make sense? So always remember Krishna means do those activities which will help you remember Krishna, chanting, reading, and all that. And one should not do those activities. One should not engage in those activities which will make one forget Krishna. That's why we have don'ts, nishedh. Correct? So when we do both the things within nishedh, then we can nicely progress in Krishna consciousness. No? So we have to have a devotional life. No? It's a complete program of devotional life. So where we should very cautiously engage in only those activities which are going to make me progress and not engage in those activities which are going to make me forget Krishna. So in this verse, we are focusing on, or Srila Rupa Goswami Pad is talking about what are those activities which you engage in by which you will forget Krishna. So nishedh, correct? No? So those things one should avoid. So for example, like yesterday also I was telling, like you're lighting fire. You may say that, Prabhu, I just do bhakti. Bhakti I'll do, and I don't have to worry about prohibitions. No, the prohibitions, if those activities you engage, it's like pouring fire. Then you will never be able to have, prasadam cooked, bhoga cooked. If you are putting fire, but again you're pouring water. So if you're indulging in those activities which are prohibited, that is actually spoiling your bhakti, spoiling the fire of bhakti. That's why one should not engage in those activities also. It's important, equally important that way. Now, another thing is that the nishedh itself is not devotional service. The do's, like somebody doesn't eat meat, is it a devotee? Can you say somebody doesn't eat meat, he's a vegetarian? Can he be? Can you say he's a devotee?
He cannot.
He can be, he may or may not be, right? But that it is not a necessary qualification. It is not the like it's not that if he is vegetarian, he is going to be devotee also. It's not necessary. Correct, no? Same if somebody doesn't drink. It's not necessary that he may be devotee. Somebody doesn't have illicit sex, he may not be a devotee. So this is not it's not like the devotional activity. I mean, just by not doing, you don't do devotional service. You understand, no? So this nishad is not something like which is spiritual, but it is important. It is important because if you do those activities, it destroys your bhakti. So we should avoid them. But what is vidhi? Vidhi is actually engagement in devotion. That is actually the positive engagement in devotion, like Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, all that we have, no? And so many other things he will, Swarup Goswami will list. So those activities which actually are spiritual activities, like that. So is this clear till now? Vidhi nishad like that. So somebody can summarize till now what we discussed. One or two devotees can summarize about this vidhi nishad and what we discussed overall. Yes, quickly, 1 minute.
Yeah, so we discussed, Prabhuji, that there are like in second verse, it mentioned 6 things which are unfavorable for devotional service and 6 things which are favorable for devotional service.
Yeah.
And like there are certain vidhis and nisheds which are prescribed by Rupa Goswami to progress in spiritual journey. And like you also mentioned that how nectar of instruction is only particularly for those who want to progress in spiritual life, and Rupa Goswami is like a doctor here who is prescribing us the do's and don'ts. And somebody may say that they might be deceived or diseased, and like they're not willing to accept their disease, then that is their ignorance.
Correct.
Something like
and can you also explain about why the vidhi and nishad both are important? We explained with some examples.
So like vidhi nishad, examples I'm not able to recollect now, but examples.
Yeah, so we gave the example. Anybody would like to help?
Vidhi helps in engagement in spiritual activities and make sure that if you do it, then you will be detached from the spiritual activity. So vidhi is like always remembering Krishna, and nishad is like don't forget.
Yes, correct. So like doctor, he says do something, so he takes medicine, you take medicine. But if you're not following the prohibition, he says don't eat certain things. Eat medicine and don't eat these things. But if you eat those things, then you're going to get cured. No. Because even though you're taking medicine, but you're eating certain things which are not going to help you getting cured. So then you'll not be cured. Both are important. Another example I gave of fire. You're trying to put fire and then you're pouring water. So avoiding to pour water is also important, because if you do those activities which is going to diminish your bhakti, destroy your bhakti, one should avoid them. Okay, so thank you very much. Yes, so I think we got some good understanding about it. Now we'll come to the verse. I will just share the screen. Yes. NOI verse 2, right? You're able to see the screen? You're able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So here, yeah, these are verse. So I will explain this one item, and then we can go a little more in detail what Prabhupada explains. Okay. So atyahar. So atyahar means what? Ati ahara. Ati means over. No? Ahara means eating. The two things Prabhupada says. One is eating, and second thing is collecting fund. So two things: overeating or too much collecting fund. These two things he says. So ati ahara. Atyahara. That's what becomes atyahara. Atyahara is atyahara. So Prabhupada gives in the purport the example of like a bag of rice is there. So birds will come, eat little and go. But if a human being comes, then what will happen? He'll take the whole bag and he'll keep it in his home. And then maybe he'll eat something and then he'll start selling and earn money also. And sometimes he collects so much, some things will spoil also. It will happen. So there's a tendency to accumulate more than necessary. Correct? So that is called atyahara. So it can be in eating, it can be also in terms of money, both. Then prayas. What is prayas? Prayas means over endeavoring for something mundane, which are very difficult to attain. Now we may have to do some needful endeavor, even for some material things also. That is not prayas, but prayas means what? When you do too much of endeavor for something mundane, which is not so easily obtainable. They say that you put your endeavors, which doesn't hurt your overall devotional service. So then it's fine. But if suppose it's going to hurt your devotional service, then that is getting into prayas, called prayas. Prayas means you are getting so much carried away to achieve something material, and you're getting overboarded, and it's hurting your spiritual journey now. Sometimes devotees get into, let's say, I want to have a big business now. So I want a lot of money. So then they may take up too much of load, and then they may compromise the japa. They may not chant their 16 nouns. They may start diluting their devotional practices to a great extent, and not being guided by also devotees, getting off from the devotional track and getting away from devotee association. So they may get drifted away. So prayas sometimes may become dangerous. When one becomes too ambitious about certain material things and may hurt his devotional service. So that should be avoided, over endeavoring. And then he's talking about prajalpa. Prajalpa. So jalpa means to talk, prajalpa means unnecessary. So there are certain unnecessary talks also one should avoid. So what is this prajalpa? Actually, my spiritual master says, prajalpa, those kind of unnecessary talks when we do, so our consciousness becomes like burnt chapatis, he says. Burnt chapatis. Meaning that it's of no use. Like say you cook chapatis, so you do a lot of endeavor, but it's burnt. So if you eat it, it is so tasteless and it's going to create problem also in your body, like that. The same way when we do prajalpa, then what happens? Immediately you find your devotional consciousness goes down. Your Krishna consciousness goes down. And you become absorbed in materialism. That's what happens by doing prajalpa. So prajalpa means unnecessary talks. That means talks which are devoid of any devotional service. Talk which is devoid of Krishna. There may be some necessary talk, like say you have to talk about some job, you will talk about your studies, which has an overall program which is within the overall program of devotional service, right? Like a grihastha may have to do some job, and he has to inquire certain things about his job things. He may do certain business. Those things may be there. But what is prajalpa told when you don't have direction for your talk? You have no purpose, either directly or indirectly, to make advancement Krishna consciousness. Because let's say grihastha has to work, and for that he has to get some money. Why? The family can maintain. Then some money he can give charity, for propagating Krishna consciousness. He can also have some money so that he can use it for going to yatra or things like that. Correct? So with that intention, he may have to, talk certain business things, certain job things. That is allowed. You're getting this point, no? But sometimes we don't have direction, We just come and start talking, blah, 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 so many things, So Chaitanya Chandra says, mainly these two things, are very grave, serious problems, when it comes to two devotees talking prajalpa. So he says, or when devotees come together and talk prajalpa, he says, one is blaspheming devotees, criticizing devotees, and rumor mongering. So he was saying that how this tendency is so much there that sometimes some devotee, may have some issues, or sometimes some devotee may be having certain kind of behavior. So devotees will sometimes talk about that, among themselves. So that becomes prajalpa. Because what happens is that fault or that kind of criticism what is spoken and somebody hears, so that becomes, imprinted in the mind of other devotees. And to get rid of that negative perceptions, that impression, sometimes becomes very difficult, and it creates some kind of, disharmony in the devotees community also. So one has to be very, very careful. So he was saying that even if there is some faults in some devotees, some equal devotees, some even you may see something in senior devotees. So the way to deal with it is not to talk about it. The way to deal with it is we actually, go to the right authority who is mature to help us. So suppose we are getting affected, then we can take help from some senior devotee, how to see this, right? And take guidance. And if you are concerned about some devotee, then we should know that somebody who can help that devotee. So that devotee can be informed. Or if it is not of your much influence and you are not part of it, you are not much getting affected, and you will see something here and there. So you have to know that it is the duty of his guru and Krishna to rectify him. But if you are concerned, the devotee may be concerned, so we can always approach his superiors and help them understand the situation of the devotee as per our perspective, and then we leave up to them. But we are not interested to talk unnecessarily about devotees because it does not create any good, nor for the devotee, not for us also. So it unnecessarily becomes offensive. So we should avoid that with them. So discussing the faults of devotees, discussing unnecessarily rumors, sometimes come up. We talk about that. So these things can become very dangerous, and it spoils our consciousness like anything. So one has to be very careful about that. And sometimes Prajalpa may also begin in terms of talking some background of a devotee, that how the devotee was this, like two devotees came together and they started telling, before communications are very bad. So I have so much to do. So they came with very good intention. And the devotee said, yes, Prabhu, I was also very bad. I also, have to very nicely purify my heart. So both talk in a very good way in the beginning. They say, Prabhu, what to say? I would so much watch cricket. They say, what cricket, Prabhu? I would watch Bollywood songs and all that. Bollywood movies are so much. Prabhu, but I would even watch commentaries and all. I would watch all kinds of actors and actresses, that actress and that actor. And then start talking so many things like that. So it can go in different directions. So one has to be very careful. The Prabhupada says the solution is one should immediately divert the topic to Krishna. That is one of the practical ways, to avoid Prajalpa. So whenever you sense that the Prajalpa is going on, there is some kind of fault of some devotees are getting discussed, or there is some kind of mundane talk about some song, some movie, some kind of thing which has no goal of becoming Krishna conscious. It's not connected to becoming Krishna conscious in any way. So one should immediately run away. My spiritual master say one should run away from that place, because it's not going to help anyone. It's not going to help anyone. So that's why one should run away from that place, because it's going to spoil your consciousness. That way. One should be very, very serious to avoid Prajalpa, any kind of Prajalpa. So Chaitanya Chandra was saying that when we have come to Krishna, our whole soul purpose of coming to Krishna consciousness is to become Krishna conscious. We have come to Krishna consciousness to become Krishna conscious. So we have come to make advancement in our consciousness, not to talk about what is happening with that devotee, what is happening with that temple, what is happening to this group. We are not here, and we are not very interested to know about what is happening in world, in terms of politics, in terms of cinema actor and actresses and all. It has no relevance to our Krishna consciousness. There may be sometimes something related to service, so that should be needfully taken. Like some devotee may be like in communication, it's ISKCON communication, so he may have to know certain political situation to know. So those needful things can be taken under the guidance of superiors. That's fine. But unnecessarily indulging in certain topics, is always very risky. So he says, Prashit Maharaj says, Shrotavyadini Rajendra Ninam Santi Sahasata. Then it says, Apashyatam Atmatattva, what is that? Apashyatam Atmatattva. Griheshu Griham Edinam. It says, those who are not able to, Apashyatam Atmatattva. Those who don't see Atmatattva, that means who are not so much aware of the self, soul, and they're not so much conscious of Krishna. I mean, they're not having any kind of Krishna conscious program. So they have so many varieties of subject matter to talk about. So many varieties of subject matter to talk about. So, Shrotavyadini Rajendrinam Santi Sahasrasa. Sahasrasa means hundreds and hundreds of topics they have to discuss. But it has nothing to do with devotion. So they will talk all varieties of things. And there's so many books coming up. It's all Prajalpa. Because there is nothing, which is important for our growth in Krishna consciousness. So serious devotee should avoid this Prajalpa. So as soon as you detect Prajalpa, one should know it's just going to harm my Krishna consciousness. That's why we discuss, certain activity if you indulge in is going to harm your bhakti. So Prajalpa is one of the very powerful weapons of Maya, which can destroy our bhakti a lot, because it leads to offenses, it leads to negativities, and unnecessary rumors. So many things happen, and we actually become down in our devotional service like that. We have to be very careful, and how we have to deal also will have to be discussed. And then it says over Niyamagraha. Niyamagraha. So what is Niyamagraha? So if you see Niyamagraha, so it is Niyam plus Agraha. Sandhi? How many of you know Sandhi? There is Sandhi and Sandhi Viched, correct? No? Sandhi Viched is like Niyamagraha, Sandhi Viched, Niyam plus
What division?
Yeah. So like say Niyam, plus Agraha. So there are two words, Niyam Agraha and Niyam Agraha. Actually, both if you combine, it becomes Niyamagraha. So Niyamagraha is one word. But if you do Sandhi Viched, it can produce two sets. What are two sets? One is Niyam plus Agraha, and there is Niyam plus Agraha. Niyam plus Agraha, Niyam plus Agraha. You getting? So Agraha means very eager to accept. That is Agraha. And Agraha means what? Reject. You are neglectful. So Niyam Agraha means when you are very enthusiastic, you are very eager to accept certain rules and regulations, but you don't know why. You don't know the why. Or you have some ulterior motives and you accept it that way. So that is called Niyamagraha. You are very eager, but you don't know the reason of it. You don't know why you are accepting. So there is no spirit of Krishna consciousness. You are simply accepting the rules and regulations for the sake of accepting them, or sometimes you have ulterior motives. So that way it is Niyamagraha. And there are certain rules and regulations one gives up which are necessary for spiritual advancement. So he neglects it. So Niyam Agraha. The certain necessary rules and regulations one should follow, but he neglects it. He doesn't follow it. So it is called Niyam Agraha. So can you think of something which we may be accepting very enthusiastically? We are very eager, but without knowing the spirit behind why I am doing it, or having some ulterior motivation. Can you think of some activity like that in Krishna?
In the initial stages of the devotional Krishna conscious life, like we might not know, like senior devotees keep telling us that you should chant, you should chant, you should chant. But then it's only by constant hearing and listening and understanding of the Shastras, you understand why it is very important to chant Krishna's holy name, chant Hare Krishna Mantra.
Yeah, like one devotee, he was saying, Prabhu, I will just chant now. I will not do any program. Because I came to know holy name is the only thing, so I will just chant. So now his all superiors were telling Prabhu, it is not like that. He may not be at that level. So this is called whimsically rejecting and whimsically accepting some things without knowing the reason why. Now, holy name chanting is good, and he may be apparently telling that I want to just chant and purify and all that. He may be saying like that, but there are sometimes hidden motives also. Because when we want to show that I am understood, I am a devotee. So there is some subtle motivations which one cannot detect. One may be actually desiring some kind of name, fame, and all that. We may never know. As Ajit Gunpur is saying that now he may be rejecting certain necessary rules and regulations, like hearing the lectures, hearing the senior devotees, correct? So now it is being told that you should also hear Srimad Bhagavatam, also you should read Prabhupada. You say, no, I will not, I will simply chant. But will you be able to do it then? You may not be able to probably continue chanting. Like when Srimad Prabhupada, he just went to Radhakur. He told, I am going to chant 192 rounds now. And he gave up all other instructions, which is, Srila Prabhupada wanted him to follow. Being in ISKCON and reading his books and all that. He just gave up all that. He gave up his services. He just simply went to Radhakur to chant. But then what happened? After some time, they found him in the petrol pump. And they asked him, what happened? He told, I have chanted enough now. So much I have chanted. My quota is over. And he was in the petrol pump. So when we're not able to properly practice it, because there is some ulterior motives. And he's whimsically accepting something without having proper spirit behind it, like that. Yes. Is that the point you were telling, Ajit? The same line?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. Any other point? Niyamagraha, Nimagraha.
Niyamagra, like not following regulatory principles.
Yes. So important regulatory principles are there. Like one should chant 16 rounds. Should do it. One should follow the regulatory principles. One should be not neglectful to them. One should not say, I'm doing Bhakti, Prabhu, it's fine. Why to follow? Why to? थोड़ा movie देख के आ जाएंगे. थोड़ा सा girlfriend भी रख लेंगे. Bhakti भी कर रहा है चलेगा. So one cannot do all this. One cannot just watch, Prabhu, it's okay, Kalyug ka zamana hai. So, little bit pornography also is fine. Sometimes we can have some mind change, we can just watch, no problem. So one cannot do all this. It's all falls under illicit sex, like getting girlfriend and all this thing, getting the pornography. It's all actually, in that same grade, illicit sex. So one should be very careful to not compromise these four regulative principles. But follow them. One should not be neglectful. It's essential for making progress in Krishna consciousness. One should not be neglectful. Yes. Any other? Accepting something for the sake and not understanding the spirit, not knowing the why of having some ulterior motives.
Recall anything.
Like sometimes, somebody may accept this principle of reading and he starts reading without properly taking permission from superiors. They start reading so many literatures. They start reading all the acharyas, Goswamis, and when we get bewildered sometimes, because not knowing the purpose of reading. Purpose of reading, hearing is what? To become proper servant of our superior, proper servant of Guru. Like one person, he wrote letter to GBC. He read so many scriptures. And he wrote that only Brahman can be Guru. And his own spiritual master is not coming from Brahmin, so-called Brahmin. Paramahansa Gopal Krishna Maharaj, one of the disciples. So, and even Prabhupada was not from the Brahmin, in the material terms, not Brahmin family. He was, not that way. You understand? So, you see, it's become so blasphemous. And he was one of the very scholarly good. He came to Pune, almost gave 3 days lectures, brahmachari classes and all that. So later, he got diverted, you see. So he took the rule of reading the scriptures, but he overboard it, not knowing the reason why. The process of reading, hearing is to become subservient of the Acharya, of Guru, not you step over them. Correct? So he became Asar actually, and then he started his own organization, and he introduced 3.5 regulative principles. The own organization. The organization is still there. So you can imagine, and he was initiated devotee. Even if Brahman initiated, of course, Brahman initiated must be also. So, like that. And he was friend of Kamal Lochenko. Now it's sannyasi. So, friend means he was like in the same kind of line. So, he was, I know him, he was a good devotee, but somehow he got drifted away. So, that's why one should be guided, by superior. Whimsically, one should not do. So, niyamagraha, we discussed that. Then he says, niyamagraha, janasangas. What is janasangas? Janasangas means what? Association with worldly minded persons. What happens when you associate with worldly minded people? Yes.
Like maybe because of their influence or greed.
Yeah. So we also get that kind of consciousness. Our consciousness also gets spoiled. Jaisa sang vaisa dhan. So if you associate with worldly minded people, your mind also will become contaminated. Your thought process also becomes contaminated. So that is also it also destroys the bhakti. Janasangas. Janasangas is associated with worldly minded people. So today morning in Bhagavatam we were speaking. Nishkinchanasya Bhagavan bhajano pakasya. Param param jigamishwar bhavasagarasya. Sandarshanam vishainam athayoshitam cha ha hanta vishabhakshan athopeya sadhu. Says that Nishkinchanasya Bhagavan bhajano pakasya. One who is desiring to go beyond this cycle of birth and death and desiring to attain Krishna, one who is serious about it, says, one who is endeavoring to perform bhajan of the Lord with the endeavor to attain Krishna prema. Paramparajik Bhavasagarasya, he wants to go away, cross over the Bhavasagar. It says, Sandarshanam Vishainam Athayoshitam Cha. So, to associate with the people who are sense gratifiers, worldly minded, and to associate with women, those who are similarly interested, associate with women with the same desire of sense gratification, is actually more dangerous than drinking poison willingly. He says like that. So if you are thrown in the association of those people versus you are given poison, you'll prefer to take poison because poison you'll die once. But if you associate with those people, you have to take so many births. and you will die unlimitedly. So many times you will die. You see? So what is better? You be Krishna conscious and die once, take poison and die. Correct, no? Then associating with those worldly minded people, because of that, so many varieties of bad samskaras will come, bad desires will come, and that will lead to so many material births. And sometimes so many varieties of species. Like once one boy was, he came to me and he was talking about certain thing he got into, some wrong thing. And then he said he went to some barber or something, they're talking on nonsense. Some kind of talk they were talking on man, woman, and all that. And that contaminated him. And then he got into so many, something, some dirty thing. So he was telling me that became his kind of bad part. So because of bad association, people get into sometimes many bad things. So you should be very cautious about whom you're associating with. So that we will discuss it more in the purpose. So that was Jana Sangasha. Then Lolyamsha. Lolyamsha is something similar to greed or atyahar, you can say. So that is like, wants more and more and more, wants to accumulate wealth, and he has greed for eating, greed for many things. So greed also is dangerous. It is similar to atyahar also. And then it says, Shadbir Bhakti Vinashi, that way one can destroy his bhakti. So, yeah, so I'll a little bit discuss on the purport now. So he says, so first part, Prabhupada talks about, let me see. Yeah. So Prabhupada talks about that how the human life is meant for plain living and high thinking. Like I say. And this is how he begins with the purport, and he elaborates in the middle, he will talk about it. So first Prabhupada says about the three energies, that is Bahiranga Shakti, Antaranga Shakti, and Tatastha Shakti. So we are which Shakti? Bahiranga, Antaranga, and Tatastha. So we are which Shakti? So Antaranga Shakti means internal potency of the Lord. This is Lord's spiritual potency, right? And Bahiranga Shakti is external potency, this is material nature. And Tatastha Shakti is called marginal potency. So what is marginal potency? Ourselves, living entities. The living entities are called marginal potency. We are Tatastha Shakti. We can be either under external potency, that is Mahamaya, or we can be either under Yogamaya, that is internal potency. We can be either of the two. That's why we call Tatastha. Tata means what? The shore, right? Tata, shore. So if you see the ocean shore, if you see, so either that sand, the shore, it can be either wet or dry. Correct? Na? It can be either within ocean or dry under the sun. It can be dry. So either wet or dry, like that. Same way, we can be either under the protection of divine energy, shelter of divine energy, that is internal potency of the Lord, or under Mahamaya, that is external potency of the Lord. The two only like that. So the divinities who are under marginal potency of the Lord, they are called Duratma. And divinities those who are under internal potency of the Lord, they are called Mahatma. Mahatma to Mahampatha, Devim Prakriti Mashita. That's what Prabhupada begins this entire discussion of this one. So Mahatma means one who is taking shelter of the internal potency of the Lord. Then Prabhupada very nicely expands the Mahatma, the Duratma, in terms of that, he says it is cripple minded. Cripple minded means what? Those people who are simply interested in sense gratification. So who are Mahatma? Mahatma means they're interested in gratifying the senses of Krishna. And who are Duratma? Duratma interested in gratifying their own senses. Okay. So now, Duratma people can be of various types. Sometimes they take the shape of isms, Prabhupada says. So what kind of it is isms? They'll say nationalism, humanitarianism, or altruism. There are so many isms comes. So all these isms, Prabhupada says, these are all extended sense gratification. What is extended sense gratification? Anybody knows? It's called sense gratifications, that is self, and then extended also. Like I want to gratify my senses. I want to eat and have nice food and clothing and all that, nice comfort. Actually. But if I want for my family also. So when my family gets gratification, that is also, I am also gratifying myself. You understand? No? So we relate to our family based on body identification, we relate to our family. So if the family is also getting some kind of gratification, some comfort, then I also become happy. So that is my gratification also. It's called extended sense gratification. That is also my sense gratification only. When my family, flourish, then I am also feeling that I am also flourishing. You're getting this point like that. So it can be extended to a little more. It can be extended to community, it can be extended to nation, it can be extended to humanity. So you work for humanity, but then you are torturing animals, correct? So that way, there is always extended sense gratification like that. Either it is self sense gratification or it can be extended. But both kinds of sense gratification is actually sense gratification only. And the person who is simply interested in sense gratification is Duratma. So Prabhupada says that only Mahatma, he is interested in gratifying the senses of the Lord, and he's a devotee. So he's beyond all these isms, because he works for the welfare of every living entity in terms of helping them to become Krishna conscious. And he himself is focused upon taking shelter of the Lord, and trying to serve the Lord, please the Lord. So devotee only will engage in one activity, what is called devotional service. And that is the highest philanthropic activity also. So engaging in devotional service to the Lord, that is the highest activity. And it is devoid of any sense gratification, either personal or extended. This is basis of activity is sense gratification for all those Duratmas, either personal or extended. Only when a person gratifies the sense of Supreme Lord can he be called Mahatma. So when you are under the internal of the Lord, then only our engagement is the satisfaction of Krishna. So if one is not a Mahatma, he is a Duratma. Duratma is triple-minded, he says. And then he says that, and these Duratma, they suffer. How they suffer? They suffer with threefold miseries. What are threefold miseries? Who will tell? In Discover Yourself, we connect. We have understood this. Threefold miseries are what are threefold miseries? Adhyatmika, Adidaivika, and Adibhautika. What is Adhyatmika misery? Oh, where are the notes? Where are the notes? Me. We are not taking any notes.
Recording.
No, but I need to see your notes every time. So what is Adhyatmika?
So one is like catastrophic.
Yeah, that is Adidaivika. Adidaivika. And what is Adhyatmika, Adibhautika? So natural disasters are like Adibhautika. Okay. And then Adhyatmika is misery due to our own mind and body. That is Adhyatmika. And Adi Devika is, I told you, natural disasters. And Adhyatmika, Adi Devika, Adibhautika. Adibhautika is miseries due to other living entities. Like maybe some kind of terrorism or some living entities troubling us, like mosquitoes, snakes, scorpions, that way. So Adi Bhautika, like that. Threefold misery. And also the 4 real problems of life, Duratma will suffer. What are the 4 real problems of life? Birth, old age, disease, and death. These are the main problems, conditions will suffer. So then Prabhupada says, so like that, living entities are suffering in this world because of being not taking shelter of the Supreme Lord and becoming Duratma. And then this kind of bad habits are there in the living entities. So then he starts mentioning about that how everybody has to work in this world to keep the body and soul together, but one should not do atyaha. People have a tendency to do atyaha. These living entities, those are not each other Lord. Many times they have the tendency to do atyaha. So if we as a devotee also engage in atyaha, then we also get bound in this material existence. It spoils our bhakti. That's what it says. So it says that everyone requires possessions, food, grains, clothing, money, and other things necessary for maintaining the body, but one should not collect more than necessary for his actual basic needs. If this natural principle is followed, there will be no difficulty in maintaining the body. So then I gave that example of bag. And then Prabhupada gave a very nice example. Statement. He writes in the purport. He says that actually to live in this world is very simple formula. One can have a cow and land. One can have easy, simple living. But people sometimes don't want to live in a simple way. Prabhupada says that is the disease of the condition. They don't want to live simple, so they want to complicate their life. So Prabhupada says the human intelligence is given, the higher human intelligence is given, so that we can use that intelligence for self-realization. But what modern human does, that same intelligence he uses for economic development, and will make his life very complicated, getting so many varieties of unnecessary things. And Prabhupada mentioned those unnecessary things also. He says there's so many factories, slaughterhouses, brothels, liquor shops. These are all he is producing. So he's saying that they're misusing their intelligence to produce many unnecessary and unwanted things. So, and for that they're working so hard, and they're collecting so many goods. They're eating too much to possess these artificial amenities. And then that's how they think that they're being advised. And if you tell them you live a simple life, they think that you're telling me to go to a primitive way of life. Why should I do that? So that's how they think. So generally people do not like to accept plain living and high thinking. That is their unfortunate position, like that. So can you think of some of the ways by which you can follow this principle of simple living, high thinking? What is simple living, high thinking? Simple living means you can make your material life simple so that you have more time to focus on spiritual life. But if you get into too many unnecessary artificial needs, then what happens? You have no time, because you have to too much work hard. So atyahar leads to prayas also. When you have desire to accumulate so many things for artificial needs because you're complicating your life, misusing intelligence, then you get into prayas also to work very hard for it. And that's how you have no time for spiritual life. Correct. So anything you can think of, that how we can follow this principle of simple living and high thinking in our life.
Don't try to accumulate things.
Yeah, like we sometimes purchase so many clothes. Sometimes we have 10 sets of shirt, 20 sets of jeans. Unnecessary, so much accumulate. We can sometimes give away, because if you have so much, then you have to take so much time it takes to maintain also. Unless it is lying like that. So one can reduce his maybe dresses. You have to have so many things. Correct? Yeah. Sometimes people have different shoes, different varieties of shoes. One shoes for athletics, one shoes for office, one shoes for home. Of course, sometimes there is some need. So there is always a line between luxury and need. So one should cautiously. Sometimes there's something needed. One can take
For example, like you cannot be doing like a 1 mile race with like a pair of slippers or boots.
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. If something is needed, you can take it. But sometimes people have, okay, if I go for birthday party, this shoes. When I go for New Year party, this shoes. And they say that some actress was there. She had like some, big number of some sandals, something like that. So simply like that. So one should avoid that. Sometimes we get so many items of food. We take and keep in the fridge, and then it gets spoiled and we throw it. Because a tendency to purchase and keep it, accumulate like that. So we can see in our life, where we have that kind of tendency where we do atyahar and we complicate our life unnecessarily. That way. Okay. Then he says human life is meant for God realization, and one should use his intelligence for the higher purpose. One should take the instruction. So then he says about that how actually the goal of religion is awakening love for God, not for developing more and more higher standards of economic life. One should not endeavor for economic growth. So religion is not meant for that. Dharma is not meant for kama, for making more and more advancement in terms of economic development. That is not the goal. The real goal of religion is to become more and more Krishna conscious. So he says sometimes human society manufactures a system of so-called religion aimed at material advancement. That is far from the purpose of true dharma. So that is the. So he says religion entails understanding the laws of God, because the proper execution of these laws ultimately leads one out of material entanglement. So now this is a very nice point. He says, so okay, even though we require economic development, true religion allows it only for supplying the bare necessities of material existence. So what is required? What is needful? The real purpose of life is to inquire about the absolute truth. If our endeavor, prayas is not to. So this is very striking point. You can repeat after me. If our endeavor, okay, is not to inquire about the absolute truth, we will simply increase our endeavor to satisfy our artificial needs. Yeah, if you want, you can read the second canto, which I think the second chapter mostly. The first, he talks about what the use of pillow when you have hand, what the use of clothes when you can just have bar, what the use of having so many cups and plates when you have hand to drink water and eat. So like that he says how one should simplify. Of course, it doesn't mean that you have to go to that kind of life, live in jungle and have a so primitive life. But the point is one can simplify his life instead of too much accumulating. Like in America, I find such big houses they purchase and nobody is living there. Two fellows only, one husband and wife. Sometimes no husband and wife also, one person was living. And they don't use for anything, just lying like that. That's are. And if it just whole time goes in complicated, just maintaining that. The servant maid will come, property tax, this thing, that. The whole time goes in maintaining the property. Then there is no time for Krishna consciousness. You can see that. So if you're not having endeavor to inquire about the absolute truth, we will simply increase our endeavor to satisfy our artificial needs. See that. So if you don't have Athato Brahma Jigyasa, then you have Bhayankar Jigyasa. Bhayankar Jigyasa, Bhayankar things. So many artificial needs you want to get. And then so many other things also start. We start talking Prajalpa and so many things. Unnecessary, idle curiosity will come in. So if our endeavor is not to inquire about the absolute truth, we will simply increase our endeavor to satisfy artificial needs like that. So spiritual aspirants should avoid mundane endeavors. And then he says about this thing. Prajalpa. Somebody can read the Prajalpa part? Can read?
May I?
Yes.
If we must talk, we should talk about the Krishna consciousness movement. Those outside of the Krishna conscious movement are interested in reading heaps of newspapers, magazines, and novels, solving crossword puzzles, and doing many other nonsensical things. In this fashion, people simply waste their valuable time and energy. In the Western countries, old men retire from active life, play cards, fish, watch television, and debate about useless socio-political schemes. All these and other frivolous activities are included in the Prajalpa category. Intelligent persons interested in Krishna consciousness should never take part in such activities.
Yeah, so you should be careful about that. And one of the way of Prajalpa is also unnecessary WhatsApp chat. And people keep talking so many things, unnecessary talks. Facebook, they put so many things. People read, that is also part of Prajalpa. Sometimes you make WhatsApp groups. Somebody will post something which is not relevant for our progress in Krishna consciousness. So we should be very careful. That's why many intelligent devotees, they just withdraw themselves from all these social media things, which is not required. Something is required for service can be used. But unnecessary, we should not involve. Otherwise, so much of Prajalpa. Sometimes they criticize one person and the other people will comment. You have seen? It happens. One fellow is criticized. And social media is like, mass where they will put it. Have a small thing, they'll put an issue. Big thing they'll put. So that's all Prajalpa. So Janasangha. So Janasangha means refers to associating with a person not interested in Krishna consciousness. One should strictly avoid such association. So Narottam Das Thakur has told, this is a very powerful point. To live only in the association of Krishna conscious devotees, Bhakta Sanevas. One should always engage in the service of the Lord in the association of the Lord's devotees. Association with those engaged in a similar line of business is very conducive to advancement in that business. So one should always be with devotees. That's why it is required for us to be in temple or in some centers like Vivayas and all that centers, so that we are having no opportunity for associating with worldly money people. So that's why we should situate ourselves like that. So constantly materialistic person from various association clubs, they form clubs. So we also have intentions for Krishna consciousness to give people an opportunity to associate with those who have not forgotten Krishna. And Prabhupada says that, one of the thing of Atyahar, Bhakti Thakur also says that accumulating so many books, try philosophy, which are devoid of Krishna consciousness, accumulating too many books also falls under Atyahar. Another thing he says, karmis, they are too much accumulating more and more assets and things and property and so many things they want to accumulate. That is also Atyahar. Labor to accumulate more and more money for future generations only because they do not know their future position. Because they do not know their future. So he Prabhupada writes one example. He says, once a great karmi accumulated vast fortune for his sons and grandsons, but later, according to his karma, he took his birth in a cobbler's house located near the building in his previous life he had constructed for his children. It so happened that when this very cobbler came to his previous house, and grandsons bet him with shoes. So this is how karmis accumulating wealth is of no use, because he accumulates, and he has to leave everything. And he may become dog in the same house. So what is the use of that? So he doesn't understand, but his whole life he gets into this accumulating. So accepting some scriptural rules and regulations for immediate benefit is called niyamagraha, and neglecting the rules and regulations meant for spiritual advancement is called niyamagraha. So niyam agraha, niyam agraha. He explains that. I already told that. Then he says those interested in Krishna conscious movement should not be eager to accept rules and regulations for economic development, economic advancement. They should be very faithfully accept scriptural rules and regulations for the advancement of Krishna consciousness. Like one devotee, one boy, he wanted to go to America, but his sadhana was very bad. So he said, no, we can't send you to America until your sadhana is good. Then he started coming for morning program daily. Showing up the morning program. Why? Because of ulterior motive. Because he wants to go in America and settle. Before he wanted to go America for some job and business. He couldn't, he became devotee. Then he thought maybe, I will go to America somewhere. So he started working with some big businessman devotee in India. And then it was not working out. Then he is approaching now, Radhesham or somebody like, Prabhu, I want to assist you in preaching mission and all that. And then when we found out that actually there is, the sadhana and all is not proper, and many devotees are not so happy. So then But we wonder that he's also now, because he was given the warning here, sadhana, and also he started doing sadhana also. Right? So God knows, he has got pure motive, it is good. But sometimes people may do it, for the sake of some ulterior motive also. So that also falls into niyama. Agraha, for some ulterior motives. One should not accept rules and regulations for some kind of show of that. Oh, I am doing it so that I can get some post, I can get some facility, I can get some access by which I can exercise my sense gratification program some way. So one should be careful of that. The Prabhupada also says, this karmis and yogis and mayavadis, they're all fall under atyaharis, because they are actually endeavoring for so many things which are not required for devotional progress. So atyahari only, they're all atyahari, that way he says. So then he says, desiring to expand the mind by perfecting mystic yoga, merging into existence of Brahman, attaining whimsical material prosperity are all including category of greed. And then Prabhupada says about how this atyahara in terms of communists and capitalists. So Prabhupada says that, see, communists are trying to, so capitalists are accumulating, keeping, they're becoming wealthier and communists are saying that you give wealth to everyone equally. So they are saying that way. And then he's saying that we will solve the problem. But actually both are not able to solve the problem. Because the communists, they don't know what to do with the wealth, even if you distribute also. So they simply then go for some gratification only. So that also doesn't solve the problem. And capitalists, they accumulate more money, and then some people may be poorer and some people become rich, like that. So both of them actually not able to really solve the problem. So Prabhupada says actually the real problem is that they're not acknowledging that everything belongs to Krishna. And then Prabhupada says follow the principle of Ishopanishad. What the Ishopanishad says? That you accept your quota. Everything belongs to Krishna, acknowledge it, and you accept only your quota, don't encroach on others' property. So when you understand everything belongs to Krishna, and then you give up that kind of exploitative attitude, that kind of greed, then lalya, and then you don't, get into this atyahar and prayas, automatically. So that is the solution. So acknowledge that everything belongs to Krishna. That's what he says. So he gives the example. He says, like, suppose $1,000 note is there. So some person comes and takes it and wants to say, oh, no, I'm going to enjoy. So he is like bhogi, bhakti. So he wants to simply enjoy, like that. So, and then there is another person who says, okay, this $1,000, I reject it. He doesn't use it also. He just neglects it, like Gyani. But the devotee is one who will take that note and he will give it to the right person, like that. So saying what actually, who is the real person, who is the person who actually knows the real solution to how to deal with it. Because if you take it, even if you don't find any owner, you take it, then you become a thief. Correct? No? And when you reject it, not understanding whom it belongs, that also doesn't solve it. Somebody else will take and he will misuse it. So the real solution is you take that and give it to Krishna. The same way, only devotees have the real solution because they see everything belongs to Krishna, and then they will use all the assets and resources and everything only in the service of the Lord. Correct, no? So that is the real solution. Then that's how we can be really honest, and a devotee only really honest and wise. So simply transferring the wealth from capitalists to communists cannot solve the problems of modern politics, like that. So wealth of the world belongs to Krishna, and every man and animal has the birthright to use God's property for his maintenance. So be a capitalist or a communist, he is a thief. As such, he is liable to be punished by the laws of nature because he is not acknowledging that it is Krishna's. For example, some thieves, they've stolen the money and they're dividing among themselves nicely, honestly. This is yours, this is mine. But they're not acknowledging this is not our money, correct? We have stolen. So a thief. So it's called honesty among thieves. So even if suppose you say, legally, this is my land, this is my property, but you don't acknowledge it is God's property, then you become thief only. In the eyes of God, you're a thief. Correct, no? But actually, you become truly honest when you acknowledge this is God's. That's why Ishavasham principle has to be followed. Then only you're free from the troubles. So then he says, Krishna conscious devotee knows very well that this material is designed by complete arrangement of the Lord to fulfill all the basic necessities of life. So we need not encroach on others' right. That's why we can give up atyahar, prayas, and all that. We can give it up. So but materialistic people, they're not interested in laws of God. They're not interested in higher goal and anxious to fulfill their unlimited desire for some gratification. So it says this pure Krishna consciousness awakened by the proper spiritual education and practice offered scientifically by Krishna conscious movement. This Krishna movement offers a spiritual community that can bring about a peaceful condition in the world. So Prabhupada basically talks about a solution that Ishavasham principle, if you follow, then you can easily give up the this bad propensity of atyahar, and then Pratyahar, Prayasasya, and Lalyam basically. Pratyahar and Lalyam you can easily give. Prayas also can give. Because Pratyahar leads to Prayas. And Lalyam is similar. So these things can be given up if you accept Ishavasana principle. Okay. So thus end this verse 2, and now we will go ahead with verse 3. Let us begin the verse 3. So any comment, any questions, any reflection from the verse 2? Otherwise we'll go to verse 3. Yes. Any one point anybody want to share?
You did tell about the do's and don'ts, like which you had first told that what should be done, what should not be done, how we can get bewildered by many Mayavadi tasks, and what kind of people to be associated with, and how it can be counteracted according to the situation where we are at. All that I understand.
And you all can read the purport by your own so that you will get more proper understanding.
Yeah.
It's good to read. Their purports are not so big also. It may take just 15-20 minutes if you read it. Quickly you can take 20-30 minutes also. So I request you can read also. Whenever we are having a talk, you can maybe just read that 1-2 verses and come prepared like that. Okay, so now we are going to discuss the third verse, that is yes, verse 3 actually. Utsaha Nishad Dharya Tattat Karma Pravartana Sangatyaga Sutavritti Shadbir Bhakti Prasidh. So this is about Vidhi. You remember? Vidhi and Nishad we discussed. This is Vidhi. Vidhi means what one should follow. So, here, so first Prabhupada explains in this verse about the bhakti, the devotional service. What is the devotional service? Devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. So bhakti is not some kind of sentimental speculation. That means some kind of concocted philosophy on our own we have, no. And not imaginative ecstasy. That imaginative ecstasy means people sometimes cry tears, and show some kind of emotions, saying that, Bade Bhagat hai ye to, like that. So what Prabhupada says, actually its substance is practical activity. And the entire definition of Uttama Bhakti is given in Nectar of Devotion. So this is a very beautiful verse. We are in Nectar of Devotion, we'll study it elaborately also. So you can repeat after me. Anyabhilashita shunyam.
Anyabhilashita
Jnana karmadhi anavritam.
Jnana karmadhi anamritam
Anukulyena krishnano.
Kulyena krishnano
Shilanam bhaktiruttama.
Shilanam bhaktiruttama.
So Uttama Bhakti, it is, see, what is Anya Bilashita Shunyam? That means it is devoid of any ulterior motives. Anya Abhilashita. There is no ulterior motivation. That means the motive is to only please Krishna. Anya Bilashita Shunyam. Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. And it is devoid of any kind of other path. Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, it is devoid of that. So Shuddha Bhakti is devoid of all other paths. Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. Anukulyena Krishnanu. Anukulyena, that means whatever is favorable for devotional service, one should do that. What is favorable. So one renders the devotional service in a way that it is favorable to the Lord. So we'll discuss more in detail that like Kamsa also was remembering the Lord. Correct? It's activity in devotional service. 9% devotional remembrance is also there. But that is not considered bhakti. It's not Uttama Bhakti because it was not favorable. He was not remembering the Lord to please the Lord. It was in an unfavorable attitude. So it has to be Anukulyena, Krishna Anu. And it's also towards Krishna. So Bhakti is not done for Kali, for Ganesh, for anybody. It's only for Krishna. Today purport also Prabhupada in Bhagavatam is saying that Bhakti is only done for Krishna. So Krishna Anu, Krishna. And then Anushilanam Bhakti Ruttama. And then Anushilanam. Anushilanam means Anukulyena Krishna, that is towards Krishna only. And Anushilanam means following the footsteps of previous acharyas. So one is not just concocting his own something. So he's following the paths of previous acharyas. So bhakti is sort of cultivation. As soon as the cultivation, you must refer to activity. So he says cultivation of spirituality does not mean sitting down idly for meditation. Such idle meditation will be good for those who have no information of devotional service. But devotional service means stopping all nonsensical activities, at least for the time being. Devotional service, however, not only puts, okay, he's saying meditation means stopping all nonsensical activities, at least for the time being. Devotional service, however, not only puts an end to all nonsensical mundane activities, but also engages one in meaningful devotional activities. So it is not just by doing nishedh, nonsensical activities, you avoid, you are becoming a devotee. No, you have to engage in positive, meaningful devotional services also. And then he says ninefold devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Palasandram, Mantaram, Mandaram, Dastam, Sakhyam, Atma, Nivedanam. These are ninefold devotional service: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the Lord's feet, worshipping the deity, offering obeisances, acting as a Lord's servant, making friends with the Lord, surrendering oneself unto the Lord, like that. And then it says Shravanam. Hearing is the first step in acquiring transcendental knowledge. Hearing is the first step. So Prabhupada, many times, in many purports in his lectures, has so much emphasis upon hearing. Srimataam Sakada Krishna, Punya Shravanam Kirtanam. So it is important that how one regularly hears. Because without hearing, one cannot actually be able to chant properly. And without hearing and chanting, there cannot be proper remembrance. So hearing is the first and foremost purpose. Maya Saktamana Partha, Yogam Yojan Madashraya. There also he's saying that now how one can become asakta to me by hearing about me. He's saying that also. So Takshunu, he said, Madashraya, Asamshayam Mahabhav, Takshunu, the Takshunu word comes there. That also he says that one should hear, just hear from him. So which first thing is that hearing is important, but from whom one is hearing also is very important. So first thing one has to hear about the spiritual subject matter, and second thing is one should hear from a bona fide spiritual master. That's why he says Tanprati Pranipatana, that verse he quotes. So there are so many, sometimes Babajis in YouTube, so many speakers, but one should be cautious because sometimes they may not be properly coming from a disciple association. So there are many sometimes, from Vrindavan, from so many holy places, so many Babajis YouTube channel going on like that. And they will also talk about Krishna, Radharani, Radhanam, so many things they will say. But many times you don't know, they may not be coming from bona fide guru or disciple succession, and sometimes they may have Mayavadi tinges also. Like one such guru, big followers he has, and he says about Radha, Krishna, so many things he talks about. But then he, but he has a Mayavadi concept. Because he told once that, Asharam Bapu to Lila kar rahe hain, like that he was saying. And there are so many, this kind of Babajis and all that. One should be very careful. So one should be very cautious about whom he is hearing from. One should hear from only bona fide spiritual master coming in disciple succession. That's what he says. So he says that by the grace of Guru and Krishna, one gets the seed of bhakti. And that's how one should, then by hearing and chanting, one should actually increase his devotional progress. So he says, material world is a place of confinement for the living entities who are by nature Anandamaya, pleasure seeking. So they actually want to become free from confinement of this world of conditional happiness, but not knowing the process of liberation, they are bound to transmit from one space of life to another space of life. But when he comes in contact with Guru and hears from him patiently, one begins to follow the path of devotional service. So such an opportunity is given to a person who is sincere. So the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is giving such a chance to humanity at large. By fortune, one takes advantage of this opportunity to engage in devotional service. The path of liberation immediately opens. So one should take the opportunity in International Society for Krishna Consciousness to hear from a bona fide devotees, bona fide pure devotees and sincere devotees. When somebody hears, then one can very nice, patiently saying, patiently one should hear. So the patience is required. Proper, if you hit in Rida base, sit and hear. So many you'll find, proper told so many times, sit and hear. Because people don't have any patience. They can't sit. You tell them sit and hear. No, they want to go here, they want to go there. They can't sit and hear. So sometimes it's easy, to get engaged in some kind of activities and all. That is also good. But one should not neglect hearing. Because imagine, you're serving, but for whom you're serving, you're not interested to hear. That's not very correct. Just like you're serving the Lord, you have so much eagerness for serving the Lord. It's nice, it's wonderful, that will purify us. But we should have also eagerness to hear also. And then our quality of service also will increase by that. So that's why hearing is also very important like that. So such an important, so by fortune one takes advantage of this opportunity to hear and engage in devotional service, path of liberation immediately opens. It says, by good fortune one comes in contact with devotee and hears from him patiently. Then one begins So what happens? So glory of hearing is that as soon as you hear, like first you started chanting, or you heard from some devotees over the glory of chanting. We heard first, right? And then we took up chanting. So hearing leads to chanting, like that. So if we keep hearing, then our quality of chanting also will keep increasing, and our quality of devotional service also will increase, quantity and quality both. And then Prabhupada talks about utsaha. Now, like that, one should take advantage when hearing, chanting all the 9 devotional service, and how one should do it very enthusiastically. So that's why Prabhupada said utsaha. Utsaha, he explains. No. And Prabhupada said for any activity, whether not only in devotional service, if you're a student, you're a businessman, artist, anything you want to get successful, you have to have enthusiasm. Without having enthusiasm, you cannot become successful in that field. You know? So he says enthusiasm means action, but action for whom? For Krishna. No? Krishnarthe akhila chesta. All our activities should be done for Krishna. For Krishna only. That is enthusiasm. You know, somebody may be enthusiastic in so many other materialistic activities also. We're not talking about that. What utsaha here, Srila Rupa Goswami is talking about? Utsaha for Krishna, for the service of Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna. And it should be done under the direction of Guru, under the direction of superiors. Sometimes we are very enthusiastic, but that's not the desire of the Guru. And then that kind of enthusiasm is not good. That's why utsaha should be under, so first thing it should be for Krishna, and not whimsically we concoct. It should be also done under the guidance of Guru. You understand? Because we may say, I'm doing it for Krishna, and we have our own things to do. It should be guided by Guru also. So then it is. And then Prabhupada says that like there are so many things. Okay, I'll explain it later, but let me come to this. So the definition of utsaha, you can write down this definition. Utsaha definition is endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called utsaha. So 3 things are there. What are things are there? Endeavor. Endeavor means there is some action. Then it says executed with intelligence. So intelligence means what? So this says we should surrender in Krishna consciousness, surrender to Guru, not giving our intelligence. We don't surrender the intelligence. No, we surrender with intelligence. Means we can surrender to the Guru, and we want to fulfill the desire of Guru and desire of Krishna, and we can use our intelligence in their service to please them. You understand? No? It's not that we have to give up our intelligence. So Prabhupada says, no, one should tax one's brain. How one can expand his Krishna consciousness. So there is so much of opportunity to utilize, using our brain, our intelligence in service of Guru and Krishna. But at the same time, that intelligence should not make us independent. Independent means what? We are not under the guidance of Guru. So that is not said. But we can be independently, intelligently thinking about how can I please Guru and Krishna. You getting this point? So there can be, like Prabhupada was told that you go and preach Krishna consciousness all over the world. But how exactly Prabhupada had to go and, form ISKCON and so many guidelines. It's not that Bhakti gave so many, in writing so many every detail of it. Prabhupada used his intelligence to fulfill the desire of his Krishna. So dynamically Krishna also provides that intelligence. Dami buddhim yogam tam. But devotee taxes his brain also, in order to please Guru and Krishna. So now I have one question. When we say about following the Guru, does it not look like we are kind of restricted? We follow, just do what Guru says, and we want to serve, we may have so many ways to, perform devotional service and all that, but follow Guru. So it looks like sometimes very much, congested. We are like very narrowed down. Cannot do much. Everything I have to check with the Guru only. What is this? I don't have my freedom. People think like that. So what is your answer? How do you justify that? How do you say that it is not like that? Yes, why that feeling is there, and what is way to
It is not like that, because once you understand that Guru is a representation of Krishna, it's like as if Krishna is only speaking on behalf of Guru. Yeah. So
yeah,
it's like,
but it looks like
Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Shastri.
Correct.
So keeping that mood in mind.
Yeah, but it looks like that okay, I have to do certain activities only. I'm restricted. Sometimes people don't want to check also with their Guru. The better to do it, Baba. They will say, no, don't do this, don't use that. So many restrictions will come. Don't open center this way. Just do simple service only. People may be fearful of checking with Guru or Guru. Yes. Yes. Anybody else? Yeah. You're telling right, but little more elaboration is required. Because that feeling comes, that, oh, I'm being restricted. Anyway, so I will tell you, see, there is such a restriction for sure. Like I'll tell you an example. Let's say, you have a small plant, creeper. So now if a gardener has to grow that creeper, so what he will do, he will make a fence. He will be quite restrictive in the beginning, correct? No? So cow comes, goat comes, he will protect. He said, no. Goat comes, he says, no. You should not go. Don't entertain goat. Don't entertain cow. He may say that. But when he, keeps watering, keep putting fertilizer, eventually that grows, becomes a big tree. Then he will say, now you can entertain cow also, you can entertain goat also. The whole world is for you. You benefit the world, and that way you benefit your life by being purifying. Correct? He can do that. Same way, Guru also, he actually, why there's some, apparently looks a restriction for us, because we have still disease of enjoyment. Like doctors also restricts us, the patient, don't do this, don't eat it, that. So restrictions are there, because we are still enjoyment. What happens, even within devotion service, we may go astray, doing our own things, driven by our own enjoyment, and taking the name of Bhakti. You understand? No? For our own name, fame we want to do, and that will hurt us. That can hurt us. You get it? So we may do in the name of it, like somebody may say that I'm going to preach, to one college, and it is the International College of Ladies. I'm just saying that, all Mataji's are only. And he said, I want to deliver, and this college has a lot of potential. And if I check with my guru, then I may be, told, no, it's better I will go to it. But then what happens? He's not purified. He still has a lot of material, and then it may give a problem for him. The same way somebody may want to get into YouTube. I want to have my YouTube channel to preach. But he may not be able to handle something with a kind of, the kind of fame may come. Or sometimes one may put some video and some kind of criticism happen, and he may not be able to handle it. So many things can happen. So he cannot handle it because he's not fixed in that service spirit. So sometimes Guru may also restrict certain things, and he may facilitate certain devotion service. But if he does it, then eventually you'll find Krishna empowers the devotee more and so much of freedom is there. Just like Prabhupada says, he gives an example that whole world is waiting for that devotee. Prabhupada says like everything is within Krishna. The dictaphone, Prabhupada gives example of dictaphone. The dictaphone, is just made of metal elements, but I used it for Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada used a tractor, modern tractors in Krishna consciousness for making a chariot of Lord like that. So many things can be utilized in Krishna service. Like Radheshambhu gives the example of Gauranga Shambhu. Gauranga Shambhu, when he joined that Brahmacharya Ashram, so he was simply given the service of putting the mud, making the mud blocks and making those huts and all in GV. So 1 year he only did that menial service. Now he was from IIC Bangalore, but he did that service. Very restricted way he did that, and he was very happily doing it because what a Guru and Krishna did that. Then later he was given service of Pujari. He was just made head Pujari. He was just doing service of Pujari only. So it was going on for 1-2 years more like that. And then at one point of time, Gauranga said, I want now Vidyapitham and all that. And then he said, but I have not read Bhagavatam myself fully. He said, no, you can do it and prepare and everything. And then he did it 1 year as I was. Then Radheshambhu came. Radheshambhu saw his notes and all. He was saying, hey, you should write book. They're very good. And he found him a very character devotee, very nice devotee. And eventually he encouraged him. So gradually you can see now Gauranga Shambhu, he did such great service. Of course, he was doing great service even then also. But what I'm saying is, the so-called the appearance, apparently it may look like restriction and confinement, but actually it is meant for us to truly grow in our desire to serve. You understand? No? To purify our heart and desire to serve. And as we do that, you are actually ready for the world to, that's why it says, Vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam jivva vegam. Then he can accept disciple all over the world. He can travel all over the world because he has conquered over his urges. And has only desire to serve. Only desire to serve and please. Correct? No? So this is very important. So we should be very eager to get properly trained and get the proper spirit of servitude, and this is and for that thing to happen, we require certain kind of discipline, certain training, certain restrictions in the beginning, which is much more important in the beginning at least, and not in the beginning only. Later also sometimes Guru may want to, because understanding our nature and there can be some way may be drifted away. But we have to take it in a way that it is good for my protection of bhakti and for my proper growth. Like that one can think, one can see that. But eventually, as the devotee becomes mature and is very, he's become pure in heart, then he is given so much freedom with it. Like it's in Narada Muni. We can go anywhere in the world and preach. Anywhere. Correct, no? Prabhupada, he was free to move anything, anywhere, But he never mishandled money, he never mishandled women, never mishandled any followers, nothing. So why? Because he was completely pure. Correct, no? So because we have certain, still disease there, so that's why it's a lot of restrictions. That's why. So Guru's restriction is for our good only. It is meant to empower us to become truly free. That's why it's called regulative principles of freedom. We become truly free eventually. You follow them nicely. So I think now time is up, Prabhu. I will continue tomorrow. We will not take much time. We will cover it. And then we will do one more verse and maybe little, the fourth verse and fifth also we'll do a little bit tomorrow. So I'll pause here. So any one reflection, you can just say one reflection. I have like 1-2 minutes. One reflection you can share. Yes, Avik Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Babuji. One thing from verse 3 was that to attain perfect Bhakti Yoga, we have to do things according to our spiritual master, follow his orders throughout to attain Krishna.
Okay, Sumit Prabhu.
So, Prabhu, with both the text, the second text and third text, I already told about the second text. For the third text, how Srila Prabhupada and other devotees, how they have undergone many things, and no matter what all situations are there, that's the restrictions are put to us because we are not that pure enough to understand the things which are there. And according to your previous question, these restrictions which are put on us, whether it is good to us, whether it the feeling which we are getting to it, how can we address it properly to other
I'm not
people?
getting the point, Prabhu.
The restrictions which are
Can you make it
put
more
on
clear?
us,
Yes.
the restrictions which are put on us according to the scriptures. So whether it becomes overwhelming or not, so to convey those meaning to other devotees as well.
So what is the answer?
The answer are in the scriptures, and how the spiritual masters can guide us. That's what I think.
So what is the answer? I cannot get it still. I think, are you clear with that last point which we discussed?
I think so. This was the point.
If you are clear, then you should mention it clearly.
No, I think I messed up.
The question was, following Guru, it looks very restricting.
Yeah.
So how to understand it? Because we may say that, okay, I want to perform devotional service, but it looks like checking with Guru is very restricting. My freedom to perform devotional service is kind of checked. That's why people don't want to check with Guru also. Correct? So how to understand? How it is actually not like that. So Prabhupada gives elaborated example that how this, I can use dictaphone in Krishna service. Everything is there for service of Krishna only. Nothing is which is not connected to Krishna. So many ways we can serve Krishna. But the problem is we lack service attitude. So we may unnecessarily get carried away. We may not have adhikar. That's why Guru restricts us, and he engages us in devotional service in a way that we don't get unnecessarily drifted away, distracted. And that way we purify our heart, our service attitude increases. And as we become more and more purified and have service attitude, we automatically get so much of freedom to serve. Just like a son who becomes very obedient to the father, becomes very mature in terms of serving the father, understanding his mood and mission, everything. The father will give full freedom for the business. You do anything. In the beginning, he will do a lot of restrictions on. Does it make sense, or it is not clear to you?
It makes sense because later
I gave the example of that
Yeah.
the plant also protected in the beginning, but eventually it is given for the service of the world.
Right.
Because same in Krishna consciousness, this rules and regulation and checking with the spiritual master, senior authority is very, very important, very vital. We should not neglect that.
Definitely.
Right? Because we have still the disease of enjoying mentality. We are not purified. So that's why it's important. And even when you're purified also, we don't take risk. Still, we are always guided. That's why even pure devotees in our movement also, they have GBC, right? So they're always aligning with Srila Prabhupada teachings and all. We don't trust our mind and sense. So we always align with Hari Guru Vaishnavas.
Right.
Yeah, like that. So nobody is independent. But there is so much of freedom as you know become more and more purified and all.
I
So much
think
freedom.
with the rules and regulations, and when we get adapted to it, so it doesn't feel like rules and regulations anymore once you get the hang of it, like getting aligned with it so much that it doesn't feel like that. It happens naturally.
Yeah, correct. That's true. That is true. But I'm saying is certain restrictions also more maybe there in the beginning sometimes. Like I told YouTube thing, but some devotee may be told you can go for YouTube. That may not be restriction for him.
Yeah.
So that factor is also there. Okay, yes, are you going to want to share one point?
Yeah, like I wanted to say that how the example which you gave of the tree wherein it's fenced, but you covered most of it by giving a recapitulation for some.
Which one, Prabhu? Which example?
Where you like initially when a tree is planted, then
Yes.
it is caged so that it grows properly once it is strengthened, and then it is independent to serve the entire world and for the entire humanity. And like the example which you gave of Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, like how initially he was only making bricks in GV, and then he became Pujari, and then now he's in the stature today how he is. So so it's like how important like, and for me personally, when I spoke about how Guru is representative of Krishna and Saksha verse and all those things, so like it kind of gave me a more additional purport of with the elaboration which you gave in the end, like why the restriction which is given by Guru in the beginning is because we are still astray. And then gradually once our service attitude increases so much, so that we are not attached to that service, thinking that like instead of that das mode is still there and not boss mode. And then the Guru feels that okay, even if you throw him in an island by himself, he will be able to do it in the same service attitude how he was doing it by here.
Yes,
in my
perfect.
presence.
Yes, because now he only lives for pleasing Guru and Krishna. So he will use whatever, and everything is within Krishna's creation only. So he will just make use of everything to serve Guru and Krishna only, because he has become attached to Krishna. Like that. So that is when that platform is like Narad Muni. He is on that platform. So he can go anywhere. No restriction for him. Zero restriction. And he can, completely no accountability, no restriction, no supervision. He can go and serve anywhere because he has developed that kind of service attitude. Correct. No? So we will use our free will to serve Guru and Krishna in that way. Yes. Ashish Prabhu. Ashish Prabhu, you want to say something? Sumit Prabhu, you want to say something?
Yeah, like initially we discussed about like in Shastras we have a lot of scriptures like based for karma defense, but for us for Bhakti, so we have provided only like limited, but which are useful to carry on. So Bhakti Shastra is one of them.
For making advancement devotional service.
In devotional service. And then we discussed about vidhis and nishad. So nishad is like not forgetting Krishna, and vidhi is like taking some and like taking remembering Krishna and doing some advancement in devotional service.
Doing activities which will help us remember Krishna. Is not doing those activities which will make us forget Krishna.
And then we discussed about Atyahar, Prayas, Prajalpa, Janasanga, and Aniyama Agraha, and Lavalya. And in third verse, I think we are discussing about Utsav.
Okay, so thank you all very much. Thank you for your patience and your eagerness. I sincerely, thank all of you and be very grateful for giving me this opportunity to do some service and for my own learning and verification and application. So thank you all very much. Very grateful to all of you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. We'll meet tomorrow.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Gopal Prabhu, what about you? You never told me. What are the do's and don'ts?
How they're different,
They have?
how like probably like you said all your things how they're different because like you may forget
Come here, come. You may forget.
like you may do the four regular principles, but you won't but you're not in practicing Krishna consciousness, and then you won't So then that's not, you're still not like always remembering to shoot. You're just not.
Just following for principle doesn't make you devotee. You have to also do the vithi.